prior episodes, Evan Campbell and I have been sharing ideas for bringing in key concepts of Agile portfolio management that will get you and your organization beyond the limitations of installing a practice and truly facing your core organizational constraints to leverage the best of Agile portfolio management.
Traditional portfolio management has a tight binding between the capacity side and the demand side. Although they typically have very poor estimates of predictability and forecasting of what their actual capacity is. Most of them continue to push work into the organization well past what they can efficiently process. And so we're trying to separate the demand side from the capacity side.
For me, when I go into an organization, I often see decision-making conflating the two things together. Like, I can only prioritize and get this out because this is the supply that I have. And if we can decouple the thinking about these, that gives us a greater shot in the matching piece to understand what we can really do. The other topic I talk a lot about these days with organizations is this whole idea of developing a value system or a value capability. Most organizations have really clear top-line metrics, like I'm going to increase revenue by X, I'm going to reduce costs by Y. However, that doesn't often translate down in the organization to the work that's actually being performed. So developing some sort of lightweight, simple capacity system to articulate what that means so that the folks that are actually doing the delivery work have some idea of what they're producing is really important.
Excellent point. Leading indicators for key business drivers that align to the corporate strategy.
You got to get the data, and if you don't have the data, it's really hard for portfolios to make the right kind of decisions, so that's a big stumbling block. And I think the other stumbling block is around how do I know that this thing that I am creating is actually going to make a difference?
What are some of the first steps you'd take?
Visualize the work. Visualize it so the key stakeholders can truly understand what's out there and can make the best decisions for the business.
Organizations have a tendency, both in identifying the delivery groups on the capacity side, but also identifying the portfolios on the demand side. They struggle sometimes because they can't find a perfect design that has no flaws. How do you advise them to move forward in that scenario?
Pick something that's highly valuable to you and your organization, something that really matters and can move the needle against those top-line organizational metrics, and know that you're going to be constantly iterating and changing. Also think about how to shape the pipeline of demand, the different horizon view, bringing in competitive information that may inform where we want to spend our money. Large organizations are putting in 75 to 80% of their funding into keep the lights on, run the business, and there's very little funding or focus on the extension or even innovation of products. That's going to impact how you make decisions and how you structure the demand side of the portfolio.
And that also means giving each primary demand portfolio a certain amount of delivery capacity that they can have maximum in autonomous control over. So we want to break these big initiatives down into smaller bets, conditional bets that we're assessing more like venture capitalists. We're being really dynamic about allocating that capacity to the highest use.
As we take a look at these investment sectors, you're right, Evan. We really need to understand the right kind of metrics appropriate to the body of work or the portfolio in each sector. And the challenge that I would offer is not everything has an ROI, particularly those in the Horizon 3 innovation sector.
In our next video, we'll talk about the matching function, governance, allocation of capacity to different demand portfolios.
See you next time.